Hey guys, welcome to the Luke and Ashley podcast. This is season 1, episode 3. Today's episode is going to be all about what hard drive solutions should you have in place as a photographer from year 0 to year 2. So we're going to go through all of those processes and talk a little bit about that. Not to overwhelm you, I promise. Ash is not here with me today. She's actually with our kids. We do homeschooling, so she's off doing that thing today. It's me by myself, so that means no one's going to be kicking me underneath the table telling me when to shut up. So I will do my best to keep this short and simple for you guys. But until then, let's roll that intro music.
And action.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the big issues that I get questions asked about all the time. One of the biggest things that I get asked all the time from new photographers are just people that aren't really tech savvy. And this tech savviness isn't like natural per se for me, but it did take a lot of trial and error for me to figure some things out. And just like many of you guys out there that are watching this at different stages of your journey, your photography journey, you are also done some trial and error on that. So if you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, we have both options for you guys. I will do my best to describe audibly what I'm talking about for hard drives as I go through those. And if you are watching the podcast, you can kind of see a little bit of what I'm holding in my hands and kind of explain some of that for you guys. So we'll go through there. All right, if you're a photographer and you fall into the category of 0 to 2 years of business, probably one of the very first things that you did not think about was, what kind of hard drive should I use for my storing all my photography? What kind of digital media workflow should I put into place in order to accomplish or make sure my images are saved? Or if a hard drive crashes or my computer crashes, do I have a backup in place? If my clients come back and I mess something up, or if I didn't do a backup, what do I do? What kind of workflow should I have in place? You probably may not have even thought about that until an issue happened. Or you were in other groups of circles of photographers and they're kind of talking about that. Like, hey, are you dual recording in your camera? Are you, do you have 2 hard drives? Do you have a backup hard drive? Are you backing up to the cloud? What type of hard drives are you using? Do you have external? Do you have internal? Things like that. I'm going to do my best to keep this it's going to be hard not to go super techie with it. But I'll definitely try to do my best to keep it simplified for you, especially if you're brand new at this, so you're not just mind blown. You're not hearing what Ash like to say, the blah, 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 blah stuff. All right. You have shot your first session, or you're about to go shoot your first session, or you've been shooting a few sessions. The number one thing that you should start concerning yourself about is, am I dual recording in my camera? A lot of the mirrorless cameras, or most of the higher end cameras right now, if higher end or medium range cameras, mirrorless, we'll say in the $2,500 mark. If you're a Canon user, you're talking about maybe the R6, the R7, I believe. Oh God, and I'm gonna forget some of these names or model numbers. Probably the Nikon series, any of the Panasonics, the GHS, or the GH series, or even some of the Fujifilms. They should or hopefully have dual recording options. If they don't, I would highly suggest that you as a photographer, when you're purchasing your camera or getting to that next stage, find a camera that can do dual recording. So Ash and I, we use the Canon R6s that has 2 SD card slots in it. So we can record RAWs on one, and then we do JPEGs on the other card. So card 1 or slot 1 in your camera is where we record all the RAW photos. And then in card 2 or slot 2 of the camera, the same camera, we're recording the high res or full res JPEG backup. You can do medium backups, you can do small if you want to. Just know that if you have to revert back to that JPEG backup for your image, then you're dealing with a small resolution. So you can do a small JPEG, maybe it's limited to 1,000 pixels in the resolution, or it's 2,000, or it's 3,000 or 4,000. Your full raw images or sensor images, it's going to be like 5,600 blah blah by 38 something, whatever. And I'll try to post some, or put some of that information in the video for those that are watching and do my best to explain that for you guys. So that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to be able to shoot as you're going. You want to be able to shoot RAW on one card, and then you want to shoot JPEG on the other. Some of you guys might have cameras that are SD, and then they have like a CF Express B slot or a CF slot or some other type of card slot. It's completely fine. It doesn't matter if they're not both SD or they're mixed matched on the media type. You just need to make sure that your camera can record separately to both, and most of them should. Sorry about that. So that's key number one. If you're in that digital media workflow and you're getting that mindset set for yourself, that's the thing you want to worry about. Step one on your camera. Am I recording both? So I'll give you a story, an example for us that we failed on a couple years ago. We shot a wedding for a couple, and we were shooting on 5D Mark IIIs, Mark IVs at the time, and we were not utilizing the dual card backup on that. There were some issues and some reasons why the Canon 5D Mark III and the Mark IV at the time, the CF slot that the main card was using in the camera, super fast. You can burst shoot, you can do all these things, capture some fast movement. The bottleneck was the SD card slot. So the SD card slot wrote information from the camera slower to the card than the CF. So when you're out there trying to do a bunch of fast shooting and stuff, the buffer that the camera was shooting the images and then having to write to the card filled up so fast because the write speed to that SD card was slow. And again, I'm going to try to keep this super simple and non-technical as possible and all that stuff. So that was some of the issues that we ran into. So we never really did that. So our story leads up. We're shooting a wedding for a couple, great couple, and we were doing all of our things, and we lost some images. We weren't able to. So we had a wedding on a Saturday, shot that wedding, and I think we went into a second wedding the next day or possibly the next weekend. And so even though we downloaded all the images we thought we did, we ended up formatting and writing over that same card. So right there is another issue. Don't use probably the same card for the next wedding. Wait until you know you have those images and kind of cycle and rotate cards. So buy a few SD cards. Now I have some friends, I've had friends over the years. That one girl in particular, Amanda, she has bags of SD cards in Ziploc bags that she will buy a card for a wedding, use that card one time, stick it in a bag. She'll write on there, who's the wedding for on that SD card, and she'll never touch that card again. And she's spending tens of dollars, or $20, $30, whatever the card is. And she's probably got I'm gonna guess a good thousands or more worth of SD cards in Ziploc bags, and then she buries them in her backyard. And I'm like, Amanda, what are you doing? And she's like, I want to make sure they're completely safe. No one knows where they're at. All right, cool. That's interesting, a different approach than I think most people would probably do. Definitely different than what we have done. So for us, we have about 8 SD cards that we cycle through. So 4 total. So 4 for one slot, 4 for the other slot. We have 2 cameras. Ash and I will then split those up. So, I've got 4 total for my camera. She's got 4 total for hers. 2 working, 2 backups. I hope that makes sense at this moment. So how do we do that in the camera? I like to use, and I would suggest you guys doing a minimum of 128 gigabyte SD card. All right, they're gigs. Yeah, they're gigabytes. And then in your backup card, your JPEG card, I would do either another 128, or you can have a 256 for your main card and a 128 for your backup card. Now, the reason why I say that is that how we do ours, we capture the wedding in the backup in the medium JPEG format. This allows us to have multiple weddings, multiple events, multiple months long worth of content backup on one SD card. And then once that SD card gets full, then we'll go through and we'll cycle through and we'll check, okay, this SD card, this JPEG backup card, we have all these 30 weddings or however many you can fit on there, because you can fit more data on that at a smaller resolution. Then we'll format that. But we just leave one card in there. We'll cycle the main card slot card, and then we'll keep the backup in there until it gets full, and then we'll format it. Goodness, I can go deep into this, and I'm gonna make sure I don't. So that's the kicker. So we have a slot number 1 is our main RAW card. We shoot that, we import that and then we make sure that's safe. We'll keep the backup JPEG card in there, and then the next shoot, we'll put a new SD card in slot 1. It'll be formatted, of course, and then the backup slot stays with the past wedding or the past event, and we just keep adding to that card until it's completely full. So that's what we do. It's worked out really well. You're more than welcome. Everyone has their own OCD on how they want to do things. So you're more than welcome to come up with your own solution, something that is different, something that makes you feel comfortable, and makes you feel confident that you are providing the best backup solution for your camera as you capture it. So that's a way of doing it. That's just the way that we've kind of done that. And it's changed, like I said, over the years. All right, let's talk about what happens after you shoot. You come home, you have your laptop, or you have your iMac, or you have a Windows desktop, and inside that desktop, laptop, iMac, you have a hard drive. Now, when you bought this computer and you started your photography career, you probably didn't think about hard drive space. You probably were thinking more about the price. How much do I want to spend on this laptop? And it's okay. A lot of people who initially get into this or have a computer already at home, they weren't thinking long term, like, how do I maximize my storage for all these photos in Lightroom? You know, you weren't thinking that when you bought it. You were just needing a computer, and you bought a computer. So you may have bought a computer to save money, and you went low on the hard drive space, or you have a desktop and you just have a basic hard drive in there, or an iMac with whatever the manufacturer Apple, put in there, 1 terabyte, 512, 2 terabytes, depending on where you're at. So that has led you, as you start doing this in your 0 to 2 year mark, has led you into the point where you're running out of space, or you don't have enough space to start a Lightroom catalog and start getting all that going. And so you're kind of like in a solution where you're like, I need an external hard drive. So you may have gone to the store. You may have picked yourself up a USB 3 or a USB-C external hard drive, and it's either an SSD or it's a spinning hard drive. This particular hard drive that I'm holding in my hand is by Lacey. I believe it's Western Digital that does this particular hard drive. These have been really, really great hard drives. This particular one does have an SD card slot in it, so you could just put your SD card in here. It will automatically transfer that to this drive, and then you can just plug it in and off you go. So this does require power. There's some external hard drives out there that don't require power. It's USB power. It's powered by the bus of the computer, and you don't need an external power adapter for that. So those are great to have. So what should you do if you're running into this low hard drive solution and you're trying to solve that as you're beginning your photography business? Get an external hard drive. That's really probably the quickest and cheapest way for you to get into your digital media management and start managing your images and making sure you have a backup, or making sure you have them saved into particular locations. One of the things that Ash and I did when we first got into photography and we started getting into the educational realm is the very first course, the very first thing we ever did is I created a whole entire digital media management workflow course. I'm going to be giving that to you guys for $10. If that's something you want, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go down, you can click the link. That's yours. It's our very first course we ever did. Please, please don't judge us too hard on that. And then if you're listening to us on the podcast, if you go to, I'm going to have a link in there, but you can go to, man, I didn't even think this through as I was recording this. Luke, that's excellent. So you guys can tell I just jumped on here and went through this. If you go to our website, lukeandashley.com, I'll see if I can add these notes in the show notes for this particular episode if you're listening to this on your phone or your computer. But if you go to lukeandashley.com and then you go to tools and resources, I'll have a slot down there for you guys for that. Dang, I didn't really think that through too much. Or you go to YouTube and you could find this link. Just look up Luke and Ashley Photography on YouTube, and you can find this link in there. Okay, cool. I will definitely make sure I get that good. Ash would definitely be a little, what the heck you doing right now? So that's kind of what it is at this moment. So in that digital media workflow course, I expand way deeper on setting up your hard drives, how to do that. I'm not going to spend all that time here, but that's a whole nother thing. Again, you guys can get that course for $10. It's yours forever, and you can have access to that. But I'm still going to talk a little bit about hard drives. So if you are a Windows desktop user and you have a tower, one of the options that you can do is you can add an external hard drive, an actual big hard drive, the normal hard drive. I think it's the 5-inch hard drive, whatever. This is a SATA hard drive internal. So what I'm holding in my hand is a 12 terabyte Iron Wolf Pro NAS hard drive. And here you can also take this hard drive, and in the workflow that we talk about in the course, I go through a scenario in Lightroom that allows you to have a working hard drive and then a backup hard drive. When you import your photos into Lightroom, you have the option through the import window to send the same raw photos into a backup location. And when you check that box on the import window, it'll ask you, where is that location? Well, that location, and how I describe it and how we initially started our business, was 2 hard drives. One hard drive would be for the primary working raw photos. That's where we'd have our Lightroom catalog on. And then the other hard drive in this dock here would be the backup hard drive. Now, I recommend highly, if you decide to go down this route and you decide to do this type of backup scenario, that both of these hard drives are the same exact size. Now, on average, Ash and I, when we shoot, I think this year, 2023 or last year, we have closed out with 14 terabytes of raw photo capture. Now, that's us shooting. We do commercial brand photography as well, or video, or yeah, photography. So we do weddings, our engagement sessions, we do family sessions, we do all of our brand commercial work is in that catalog. Anything that we do photo related to Luke and Ashley photography is done and kept in that one catalog. We don't have multiple catalogs for all the different work. We keep one catalog there, and then we just keep adding to that. Then we would have a backup of that particular information on another hard drive, and we keep moving forward from there. We are now in year 13. We have migrated our whole entire business and model over to a NAS. We have a 320 terabyte NAS, and this is for you in year 5. We're going to get into this in season 2, season 3. We're going to talk about all that stuff. Where should you be at there, and how should you upgrade and start moving forward? But for right now, for you guys that are in year 0 to year 2, this is probably going to be one of the best methods for you guys, just to have 2 backups, 2 hard drives. This keeps it simple because you can plug both of these into this dock. And once you plug those into your dock, you have one cable, it's connected to your computer, and then you can work simultaneously. Once these 2 get full, you pop them out, you put 2 brand new ones in, and then you can kind of move forward from there. An other option that you could do is you can do an external hard drive enclosure, like a Western Digital or a Seagate. The issue that I have with these is that inside of this actual enclosure is another one of these hard drives. You have another, spinning SATA 7,500 RPM hard drive sitting inside of here. And that's great, and it works perfectly until the USB bus on the back that controls all this stuff breaks or goes out. Then this whole entire hard drive in here, and this is what 99% of reason why when these break, it's because of this part out here that breaks, this connection that goes into your computer. Because this connection that goes into your computer connects to this motherboard on the back of this hard drive. So this isn't necessarily going to go out. It's going to be the bridge, this connection here that connects to here. And when that goes out, it makes this hard drive inoperable. So you may have had an external hard drive that you were working with and it gone out, and you were so frustrated, nothing could be saved. It's because this 99% of the time has gone out. You can take the hard drive out of here and run some recovery software. You just disconnect it all and you end up with something like this. So I would highly recommend stay away from these for that reason. And you can just buy the internal hard drives and kind of do this docking mechanism. Now, I've had these go out, this dock. I've had this dock go out that these sit in, but it doesn't affect these. And so these are 30, 40 bucks from Best Buy or Amazon, depending on where you get them. You buy a brand new one, hook it up, put these back in, you're back in business. So these do and have gone out on me. This is probably my 3rd or 4th one that I've gone through. But it's better than this, because if this goes out, the hard drive's locked. It does some funky stuff. This, you don't have to worry about it. I promise. I've been through this a couple times. A lot of trial and error. Not a lot, but enough to know that, hey, this method here works really, really well. Again, we're going to get into, as your budget increases, as your profits increase, as your business grows, there are way better solutions that I'm going to present to you guys in the next season that are really going to take you guys up to that next level. So for right now, for those that are in the year 0 to 2, focus on this. or focus on 2 external hard drives, something like this that are going to be really good. Um, third and solution for you that I've done and that we've done through over the years is we've used Backblaze. Backblaze is a fantastic online backup. Uh, I think it's like $9 a month right now, or 6, 7. They have different plans, but I think you can get in basic right now for $6. I'll have a link below for you guys for that. And you guys can get into Backblaze and back up your whole entire computer and any external hard drives as a home consumer user, not a business. I don't sign up as a business, sign up as a home consumer user, and it will back up every hard drive that you have attached to your computer, including your computer. We did this for, I want to say, almost 8 years until we migrated over to the NAS system. There were times that hard drives failed, and I was able to go on to Backblaze, and then you select in their back end, I need to restore this whole entire hard drive and every content that's on there, or I need to restore individual files. And they'll walk you through on that back end saying, hey, if you need to restore the whole hard drive, we'll sell you an 8 TB or 10 TB, depending on what they're at now, hard drive with all that information on there. We'll mail it to you. The hard drive's yours. So you've purchased the hard drive for $200, whatever it was at the price for that hard drive. All you gotta do is plug it in and all your files are there and you can pick up like normal. Or if you had purchased another hard drive to replace that bad one, you can transfer that information from that hard drive from Backblaze, then send it back and get a refund on your hard drive, which I've done that a few times as well. So there's a few options, but it's a fantastic, I cannot speak highly of Backblaze, fantastic opportunity and option for you guys to be able to use that service, back up all your work. We had almost 8 computers backed up over the years. As you got new computers, we would back up those. And then they have different histories or save history. If you want to save 30 days, you want to save a year, or you want to save forever. You want to save all your data forever. I will say this, though, the only con to that is the more you save, the more data you save for a longer period of time, the higher your bill goes up. But we're talking 5 years to 10-year mark that which we began to realize that we were paying $400 a month to save. I don't even remember how much terabytes it was, and it made more sense for us at that time to move into a whole entire different direction. So in the early stages for you, again, for the 0 to 2 year mark photographers, go ahead, get yourself a external hard drive. Go ahead and get that plugged in. Get the digital media workflow course that I've linked below. That's going to walk you guys through even more logistics. I'm going to walk through how to set up your Lightroom, how to set up your hard drives, either externally or in this dock. We're going to go through the whole process, and I'm going to make sure that as you begin your workflow into Lightroom, how do you do all that stuff? It's all laid out, screenshots, videos, everything is there for you guys. We're going to get a little bit more nerdy than we do here on this particular podcast. But it's a lot more deep dive for you. So get into there, and I even go over Backblaze as well. Sorry, I even go deeper into that and how that works. So again, if you're starting out and you're just listening to this and you just started your photography business or your year 0 to 2, get yourself 2 external hard drives. Go ahead and get those set up. You want a primary working drive, you want a backup drive, and then you want to incorporate Backblaze. So if something happens to your laptop, something happens to your 2 drives, anything happens, everything, your catalog, your raw photos, your backup photos are all in the cloud-based. You could easily recover them and all is good. So it's been one of the best solutions. Again, like I said, I can't speak highly enough of Backblaze for that. All right, so I hope that this wasn't too much for you to take in. Again, focus on your camera. Make sure you're recording dual record. All right, RAWs on slot 1, card 1, JPEGs, or you can do RAWs as well. If you want to do double RAWs, it's completely fine. It's your choice on what you want to do on slot 2. So backup RAWs or JPEGs on slot 2. Make sure when you're coming in, you have a backup hard drive and you have your primary hard drive that you're using, and make sure you have those systems put into place. If you already have something like this, the enclosed hard drive, it's okay. I would just immediately start thinking about Backblaze for sure. If you're using this, Backblaze should be your very next step. You should be backing up these, of course, your other hard drives, because again, if this fails, this enclosure fails, it's going to lock out your hard drive. It's just, there's no way around it unless you send your drive off to somebody that has some really good data management and they can do some data recovery for that. So immediately do backplay. Same with all this stuff. It's fantastic. We are at the point now, again, as we get down the road, we are very mobile with our photography business. Ash has a laptop she edits everything off of. All of our data, all of our stuff is on server stuff. We're gonna get into all of that. She can easily disconnect her laptop, go on the road, do all of her editing. That is something we do talk about in that course. And if you are in these hard drive solutions or situations where you're using two hard drives, the way we walk you guys through on how to set up your Lightroom, you too can take your laptop, go to a coffee shop, go on a road trip, work in smart preview mode on Lightroom, edit all your photos, come back, plug your hard drives back in, export, and kind of go from there. So if you have questions about anything, please leave them below in the comments or send us an email. You can email me directly if you like at luke@lukeandashley.com. I know this is, again, a fun subject. If you are listening to the podcast, I'm going to put this information on our website, but just go to lukeandashley.com. Or actually, go to lukeandashley.com, tools and resources. It's in our little menu drop-down bar for education. I'll put a link for this, or you can come to the YouTube video and grab that link as well. I'll improve that workaround process for you guys. But the link, again, will be below for that course. $10, it's yours for life. Enjoy it. I think my time is done. I think I've kind of rambled on long enough. But again, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And until next time, we'll see you around. That's all I got. All right, guys, thanks.